This section is just going to be planting some seeds for us as women and also planting seeds for good men to know what's reasonable in a marriage and what are reasonable roles that we can each play as women and men to have a successful, happy marriage. We're going to get into 3 ways women need to be submissive in a marriage. These 3 ways are very practical and a way for women to begin practicing letting go of the death grip of control that we have in our marriages and that we have over our husbands, to begin to actually feel a lot better about ourselves, to allow our husbands to thrive and feel better about themselves, and actually have a dance and be a team in the marriage and working for something bigger and greater than just who we each are. So the first way, and 3 ways that women need to be submissive in a marriage. Number 1 is let your husband lead in the financial decisions. Respecting his opinions and decisions about the finances. So this is an interesting example that I have come up with my students and that I have in my men's course. So the good men in my men's course use this example a lot. And I've seen it a couple times actually just in the last week through their homework and reflection work through the course. A lot of good men are married to women that constantly want to do projects around the house and want to be renovating, or doing different things to the yard, renovating different sections of the house. I'm serious. All the time. I see it all the time. I didn't know that this was such a big issue. And when good men are learning to look at the issues and challenges in the marriage, what they need to address through a tough conversation, this is a common example that comes up. And as women, we will buck, like I said, like a wild bronco, like, no, but we need to redo the kitchen, and we need to do some landscaping to the yard, and we need to finish the basement, and it needs to happen now because we want what we want. And a good man who is generally financially responsible sees that, no, we don't need to be doing all of this. We need to be thinking of our future and thinking of our kids' future and making responsible decisions around the finances, and doing all these projects is not something we need to be doing. We need to slow our roll and we need to be financially responsible. That's an example of letting your husband lead and respecting his opinion and decisions with finances. So one of the best ways to do this is being on a budget. One of the best ways to allow your husband to lead in the finances is to be on a budget. And I know there's some women out there that might listen or hear this and think, well, he spends too much money. I'm the one that wants to be on a budget. He's the one being irresponsible and going into debt. We want to recognize that in general, good men want to be financially responsible and plan for the future. Are there exceptions to this? Of course. But in general, good men want to be financially responsible and plan for the future. In general, as women, and I speak from my own experience, we do not like being on a budget because we don't want something telling us what we can and cannot do. And we certainly don't want our husbands to lead in a budget and let them have that control. So this is a wonderful way to consider and step into as a wife to be submissive in a marriage. Simply letting your husband lead and respecting his opinions and decisions as the head of the household and not invalidating him. Being on a budget is a way for us to learn to be responsible. And the good men want to know that it's reasonable for you as a good man to take the lead, and for us as women to be on a budget and put the family first and build financial security. It's just practical, good advice. And we have a lot we can learn as women by being on a budget and learning to let go of making it all about us and what we want and that need to be in control, and actually learning to parent ourselves around money and be financially responsible and allow our husbands to lead in that. That's number one. Number two of ways women need to be submissive in a marriage: let your husband lead in parenting. Let your husband lead in parenting. Good men are the better parents. Good men are the better parents because they want their children to be independent, responsible, and to know that there are consequences in life. Good men are really, really good at holding children accountable, giving consequences, holding their children to those consequences so that their children can build the character and strength to navigate the struggles and hardships of life. As women, we bring all of our fears of life and the bad things that can happen in life and the challenging things that can happen in life and our insecurity and fears of that. We bring that all into our parenting and are overprotective of our children and become mother bears that protect our children from the pain and hardship of life, which is one of the worst things that we can do for kids, is to try to protect them from the hardships, realities, and pain of life. Good men understand that the hardship and struggles of life are necessary to build strength and resilience. They are really, really, really good parents, and they naturally know how to lead their children and understanding the realities of life and leading them to build character and integrity and be responsible for their choices and behaviors. As women, we swoop in, and because we are pain avoiders and conflict avoiders, we swoop in and try to even protect our children from their dad of giving consequences or being direct and making a point, when that's exactly what children need to feel loved, to respect their parents, and to become good citizens and make good choices and be responsible and be able to handle the adversity of life. That's number two. Like I said, I'll do a whole live on that, but today is just planting seeds. So number two of how women need to be submissive in a marriage: let your husband lead in parenting. Number three of how women need to be submissive in a marriage. Number three, let your husband lead in the bedroom. Number three, let your husband lead in the bedroom. Meaning, here's what I mean by this: that as a good man, anything your husband wants to try in the bedroom is reasonable. Anything your husband wants to try in the bedroom is reasonable as a good man. This is so triggering to us as women. I remember the first time that I began to learn this as I've been on this journey and path in my marriage. Oh my goodness, did I get triggered? And the reason for that is, as women, we don't want to give up control. We want the control in the bedroom because we got to keep everything just so that we're not pushed out of our comfort zone to try and explore in anything that might make us feel that we are not in control. It's a control issue. And we get very rigid and frigid in the bedroom, where just if we are having sex still in the marriage, keeping it just what we are comfortable with, and we will again get very triggered and upset if our husband wants to try anything out of the box that isn't what necessarily we feel comfortable in. So here's my advice to women. There is a book, I've mentioned this book before, and it is called Real Sex for Real Women. And it's by a woman named, I always forget her last name. It's a Dr. Laura, but not Dr. Laura Schlesinger. I'm not remembering her last name right now, but it's called Real Sex for Real Women. And the first few chapters are just normalizing sex for us as women, teaching us about our anatomy. And then the next part of the book is it's very eloquently done. It's very tasteful, but it's a lot of different positions and things you can try in the bedroom. And so I say, if it's in that book, it's reasonable. If you have a hard time believing that anything your husband as a good man wants to do in the bedroom is reasonable, if you have a hard time believing that or accepting that, then you want to get this book. And like easily like 200 pages of different positions and things to try in the bedroom to explore what you like, what you don't like. And so I say, if it's in that book and it's something your husband would like to do, it's reasonable. And we want to do that, one, to show them what they like and what they want to try and is important to them, that we're willing to do what's important to them and not make it all about us. And it gets us outside of our comfort zone in sex to stop being so weird about it and making things gross or like, I don't want to do that, or that's weird. And gets us outside of our comfort zone to explore ourselves and find what we like or don't like. Because as I've mentioned many times before in videos on this, that we've never figured out what we like because we've had sex for all the wrong reasons and done what we thought we needed to do. So you might get surprised that something your husband wants to do is actually something that you enjoy, that you would never know if you've got your walls up around sex and you're so rigid and frigid that you won't go there, and you make him wrong and bad, that he might like to try something a little out of the box than what you're comfortable with. So that's number 3. Let your husband lead in the bedroom. So recap of the 3 ways that women need to be submissive in a marriage. Number 1, let your husband lead in the financial decisions. Number 2, let your husband lead in parenting. And number 3, let your husband lead in the bedroom. Hello again. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. For those women listening who know you are the problem and want a path forward to change your inner turmoil and unhappiness, I have a course for women called the Happiness Program, which is the solution to the unhealthy relationship you have with yourself and the issues and challenges you have in your marriage and your life. You can find a link below in the description to apply for a free course consultation with me. For the good men listening who want a solution to take back the power you've unknowingly given away to your wife, I have a course for you too called the Marriage Rescue Course for Good Men Only, that teaches you how to rebuild your strength and confidence so that you can navigate the relationship with your wife in a healthy, constructive way. Again, you can find the link below in the description to apply for a free course consultation with me. Thank you again so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon.